I've been asked a few times in fairly recent times in some comments and messages, am I missing being a campsite warden at the nurseries? Good question. But before that, if you've not already done so, did you know that you can like, comment and subscribe to this channel? It'd be amazing if you wanted to actually do that. So, am I missing being a campsite warden, and am I missing working at the nurseries? There's sort of two questions there, because for 3 years the nurseries became a bit of a home for 9 months of the year, and the short answer to that is a great big massive no. I am not missing it at all. I will just go on a little bit more as this video goes in to some of the reasons why what I'm not missing and how things sort of are now. I'm not going to go into in this video now what I'm actually doing. A lot of people have made a presumption about what I'm now doing job wise or for a living. I'm not going to go fully into that, but no, I'm not missing the role of being a campsite warden. I did it for 5 years. I had 5, for the most part, pretty wonderful years. And as you probably know, because a lot of the views and subscribers got picked up from when I was working at the nurseries. And if you're a new viewer and you're wondering what the nurseries is, it's a holiday park in Lincolnshire. I am so less stressed than I was, and again it's quite a regular comment where people are putting, Neil, you look a lot healthier, a lot better now you're away from being a campsite warden than what you were when you were working as a campsite warden. So I was pretty much at the nurseries for the 3 years I was there. For the most part I was pretty much semi-on call for the duration of my period. Last year, with the help of Dave and Tracy, things were a lot easier. So even like on my days off, you were doing a hand over the phone. But they didn't start until, I'm just saying, it was after Easter. So just as a good example, last Easter, the nurseries campsite was full. Absolutely full, busiest it's ever been. The seasonals area was full, and I did everything, absolutely everything single-handedly. Not a problem with that, but you're switched on 24/7. So being on call, even though the on call wasn't really a problem, and the on call phone calls were few and far between, you were always slightly on edge that you're going to get random calls. And even if you just went out to the shops or to go and pick something up, you'd have the phone ringing and somebody going, oh, we're here to check in. Okay, well, all today's check-ins are all in. Before I left, you weren't on the system. No, we've just booked. It's like, fucking hell, very few will understand what I'm talking about. But it was literally 24/7. Your head was waiting for a phone call or a drama of some degree to happen, and even to the extent. So during most campsite wardens don't get a dinner. So I used to try and eat about 1 o'clock, and you used to see me, wasn't it, wolfing down a pork pie invariably. But even getting your tea at night, so you daren't, even if you're quiet, you daren't sit down to try and eat until the last arrival has arrived. And it was super annoying that when you were trying to eat, you couldn't eat because, anyway, so eating was a bit of a problem. And then I was taking 2 midweek days off, what were they now, Tuesdays and Wednesdays I think they were, And even on my days off, through no fault of the, in first comes to relief wardens, but my office was quite often, almost every single week, Neil, I know it's your day off, but, or even, Neil, you seem to have a lot of time off, don't you? Not bearing in mind that I was often sometimes working later on a Friday, and I've just worked the Saturday and the Sunday. So people that don't work the weekends don't appreciate that somebody's worked the weekends. And it was literally so many times last year, even on my days off, I was getting calls work related that had to be answered to some extent. So I'm just glad that that is all over, and I am so pleased now that I have, for the most part, even currently with the work that I'm doing, I have an end time. I know what my schedule is for the week. I know when I'm going to work and when I'm going to finish work. That is nice. That is nice. We had some problems last year, which arose only last year and had never arisen before. Where I was working with, I referred to them as being ghost bookings, double bookings. So like the pod, the cottage, and other pitches would be double booked, and that was absolutely awful to deal with. If you can imagine somebody coming away on holiday to stay in, say, the pod, and they arrive and go, you can't stay in the pod because there's somebody in there and we've only got one pod. Having to deal with that, and at one stage it was happening on a very, very, very regular basis. That was absolutely awful to deal with. So being on edge that I'm going to finish work at, let's say, 6 o'clock, and then a random person is going to roll up at 7 o'clock at night wanting to check in for the night, and there's no room at the inn. Can you imagine how awful that was? So boom, that's just so nice that that's over. The late arrivals last year, to be fair, there wasn't that many. It wasn't as big a problem as had been in the past. But the people that took the mickey out of the campsite warden, and this happens on every campsite, where you know we had a last check-in time, and you know where people live, and you know how long it takes to get from A to B, and people just expected you to not be bothered if they arrived an hour or two or more late. I get people arrive late, cars can break down, there can be a drama at home. I absolutely get people arriving late, and I don't have a problem with that. But when people haven't got the courtesy to let the warden or the campsite know, look, I've had a problem, I've had a puncture this morning, I've had to take my car in to get a new tyre, or anyway. And again, that used to always put you on edge, so I'm just glad that that's all over. It's not all bad, this, by the way. I am going to give some things that I am missing as this goes on. So there are some things that I do miss, but I'm just getting some of the, I'm missing it, and why not? So basically, I've now got my evenings back, including, as you've seen, me and Sandra, and even with Lee, going out for meals. And I have now got an on-call works phone that literally I could be in a restaurant with Sandra and the phone goes with something very silly. So having social time and free time that is uninterrupted, I am so nice and glad that I have got that back. Yeah, really nice with that. And obviously, again, there wasn't many, but you would get wingers. You just get people would just arrive at the campsite, sometimes after hours. And sort of, we were a barrier site, fortunately, who were just winging it, just trying to get on the campsite without sort of booking and stuff. Not missing any of that at all. And likewise with just some of the random phone calls you would get from like as early as 7 o'clock in the morning, you would just get very, very, very weird. They're not weird, but I would not phone a company before 9 o'clock in the morning to ask a silly question. I would phone during, in inverted commas, office hours. But the amount of people that, because a campsite is a 24/7 organisation, if you like, they thought that the campsite warden is on call, is on demand, he's there 24/7. So yeah, not missing that at all. And bloody hell, I don't have to empty my cassette out of my toilet. So what a chore that was. Every couple of days having to trudge along a campsite in the pouring rain sometimes, and having to deal with a cassette toilet. Don't miss that. I don't miss that one single bit. I didn't take a shower last year at the nurseries. I didn't even have one shower, not even one. I showered all the time in my Caravan, but the Caravan shower, it's only got, I think it's a 20-litre hot water tank, so you've got basically a very short 5-minute, 5-minute shower. And now living in bricks and mortar, I love my baths, and if I do have a shower, I'm not worrying about how much hot water I've got or anything like that. Yeah, I don't really get why people who've come on a campsite in very expensive motorhomes and very expensive caravans, super expensive, like not really old ones like mine, but and they don't use the shower in their recreational vehicle. Why? And then you don't get that many bad reviews, but then they make a bad review about the showers being cold in February or March, the shower block being cold in their months. It's like, well, why you've got a 20 or 30,000 pound caravan or an 80, 90,000 pound motorhome. Why are you I don't get that. I just don't get that. What do I miss about it? The meeting and greeting of guests was always something that I thrived on. So from the first day of the season I started work to the very last person I ever checked in, I always had enthusiasm, greeted everybody with a big smile, and welcome to the nurseries, fantastic to have you here, and showing people onto the pitch, and taking pride in the campsite and the cleaning of the facility blocks, and taking pride in the work that I did. Yeah, I miss that. That, you know, that was quite an important role of being a campsite warden. Somebody did say, would I do it again? Never say never. If an absolute dream job came up where I could go to work at 11 o'clock in the morning and finish at 4 and I only work Monday, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, perhaps. But very, very unlikely. I mean, seriously unlikely. Never say never to anything in this world, but no, those days are well and truly parked, big time. So we've now are settling into a proper new Lincolnshire life. You've seen us away from the campsite, some of the things that we're doing. We've got a fantastic garden and neighbours and the local town, and Sandra's in work, I'm in work, and doing a very rewarding job, an incredibly rewarding job, what I'm working at right now, which I'm not going to go into great detail. Some of you may bump into me doing my job and you'll see what I do, but yeah, I'm doing a very, very different line of work, but it's really nice to go to work at a certain time and finish. That's it, finish. and currently I don't work weekends neither, and having my weekends back, yeah, oh yes, it's like, well, I've got my weekends back, and bank holidays as well. We've got the bank holidays back, which might sound really weird to be excited about this, but because we live in a tourist seaside area, some of the events that happen only happen at weekends, on a Saturday or maybe a Sunday or over a bank holiday, and I was never able to participate in any of them, and we are able to do that now, and that is just so nice. That is just incredibly nice to have that time. And then obviously I better mention that I've got my time now with Sandra, so even though when I was at the nursery Sandra was able to come and visit me, it was a nice visit, but I was always on call because she would come at weekends, and I have got to work at weekends, so I was never relaxed. And as I say, quite a few people have commented how much more relaxed and stressed out I actually look now than what I did do perhaps let's say a year ago. So yeah, I think maybe for your mental health and general well-being, it's good to be out of that that situation. But don't get me wrong, you know, yeah, it was an interesting 5 years working on 5 different campsites, of which 3 were great to work, 1 was dreadful, 1 was pretty bad. But overall, the 3 private sites that I worked for were all good, and they're all good eggs, and everything was good, and absolutely amazing memories, and especially with the YouTube channel taking off, to have met so many people over my time as a warden, especially people that specifically came to say to meet us and to say hello and to bring gifts and cards and campsite warden energy drinks and things like that. You know, they were good times. They were really good times. But you see, I am now the erstwhile campsite warden, and yeah, living a very, very different, and I'd somewhat say a very, very much better life than what I had back then, and going to work with no pressure, and if there's a work drama, provided it doesn't entail myself or one of the yeah, it's part of the work I do, it is somebody else's responsibility for when things go wrong. So bit of a waffle, I know, but I just wanted to give you an update, and to also say thank you to it runs into thousands of people that have stayed loyal to this channel and have stayed as loyal subscribers, and to the new viewers that we're getting that are subscribing to the channel on a weekly basis. I think from myself, Sandra and Lee, that's really kind and really, really good. And for the people that have done kind comments, yeah, I think words will never be able to say thank you enough. So I am now going to go out. It's the evening, I finished work, I've had a sit down for an hour on the settee and all the rest of it. I've got a beautiful bright light night. I'm meeting Sandra in our local village, and I think I'm going to go and get a couple of drinks. And you know what? I'm not going to get a phone call about a drama on the campsite. Right, this is the Campsite Warden saying over and out. Stay tuned in, because all being well, we're going to be bringing you another vlog very, very soon about something. I really don't know what. Thanks for watching.